Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Groow Zone. I am your co-host, Keion Henderson, and this is my lovely wife,
Shaunie Henderson.
Kind of paused there, sister.
I did. I was really focused on what I would want to say.
Okay.
You know how you have something in your head?
You got
and
all of the episode in your head right now, so you're focused.
Kinda. Like, not exactly what I'm going to say. The topic, I'm just kind of zoned in.
Yeah. So it's like, this is a great topic. I think it's a great topic, and it's something that everybody deals with.
But wait.
Yes.
I want to ask you before we go there.
Okay.
Have you done anything new this week?
Have I done anything new this week? Yes.
Wow. Can you elaborate on that?
I made a suggestion about what I wanted to eat. You asked me what I wanted to eat, and I told you.
You did.
See?
That's great.
Yeah.
I will take that because that is a difficult task.
I am trying to help you with your decision fatigue.
Wow. Thank you, sir. That is amazing, and I am grateful. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
So, you want to know what I did different?
What did you do?
Wait, what did you call it? Decision fatigue?
I tried not to laugh. Yes. You remember we were talking
That's actually really good.
About how many decisions you have. I got tears coming out of my eyes.
You do. So many decisions.
And I said, I want to make sure that I help my spouse with her decision fatigue.
Thank you.
And you asked me what I wanted, and I said chicken and rice.
Yep, that's what you did.
I didn't tell you where to get it from. But
or what kind of chicken and rice. Like, that's so vague, but okay. Yeah, but great. It's you did good. And I am appreciative of any steps, even if they're teenanchy.
Thank you.
I'm appreciative.
Did you do anything new this week?
I did. So I started following this page on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the end of what I did new. I know you're about to start laughing. So I started following this page on Instagram that tells you like stretches and things like that help relieve stress and like open up, your spinal cord and your hips, and it just relieve migraines. So I started.
Can we share
it?
I mean, is it okay to share?
I think it's called. It's called In Back Pain, but it's everything. I believe that's the name of it. Don't quote me on that.
So it's the Instagram handle's In Back Pain, but it's got like shoulder stuff on it.
Everything, headaches, everything. So anyway, I started doing like these things that it tells you to do, and they have been amazing.
Awesome. Like, so give me a couple, because I want to try them.
So there's this one where you sit in a chair. So you know how people do this all day, like their posture's bad, and then you think to fix it, you just sit like this.
That's not how you fix it?
Well, no, not really, because that's temporary. You're not going to last doing this. So they say, I'm going to
sit like this the rest of the podcast.
I don't think you will, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. So you sit in a chair. Done. See, you sit in a chair and you get at your desk or table, whatever it is. You put your elbows there and your hands on the side of your ears, and you open wide with your legs, sit back, butt touching the back of your chair, and you lean in on your desk,
so
and
that
let
your
your
back
head
is flat
drop.
This way.
Yeah, let your head drop here. Does this make any sense?
It does. I can see it.
And you just stretch, but the feeling of it, amazing. I could do it like 5 times a day.
So everybody follow In Back Pain.
Yes.
And make sure you tell them we told you.
Right. They don't even know we exist.
They don't even know you coming. They followers just gonna go crazy. And let them know that we got some Groow Zoners over there. Do we have a name for our group? Is it the Groow Zoners?
I like it. The
Groow Zoners. Listen, we are in this together from now on. Henceforth, we shall refer to you as the Groow Zoners.
The Groow Zoners. I like it.
We ought to get T-shirts and have people with Groow Zoner T-shirts all over the world.
Let's go crazy.
Let's do it. Okay. Well, speaking of that, so when we were talking in pre-edit about what we would do today and what we would talk to our Groow Zoners about, everybody came up with this collaborative idea about change. And we kept going back and forth. What's the word? Is it change or is it evolution? Because that change word, let me tell you, people don't like that word.
Change.
So do you have a problem with the word change? Would you rather be evolution, or do you just take it for what it is?
I like evolution better if I had to choose. I don't dislike. I will say there was a time in life that change would scare me. Like, oh no, I don't want that. But I think now I've evolved to a place that change does not bother me. If it's, good change.
What was it about the word change or the concept of change that just kind of irritated you a little bit?
It was a scary. I think change is scary. Change is uncomfortable, and no one wants to be scared and uncomfortable. So I just would, it would be like, I gotta change what? And then you ever go through this point in life where when you were younger, you just wanted to kind of rebel from anything somebody told you should change or suggested that needed to change. You're just like, no, I
Don't
know
want to
who
do it.
I am, and this is who I am, and receive me and accept me the way that I am, and I will not change. You went through that stage at some point in life.
Absolutely.
So yeah, now I'm just, experienced and
I absolutely remember that.
sophisticated.
I absolutely remember that.
You need to stop because
do.
I just saw me taking this shoe off and popping you on your leg with it because you're lying.
This is abuse, first of all.
It was just,
And it would be documented.
I don't know why that came up. It came up like a grandmama, like pop
shoe
real
off
quick
and pop me on the leg.
Yeah, because it's just, that's a lie. You don't know. You did not know me in that stage.
I did.
You did not.
You forgot you were famous?
What does that have to do with anything?
I saw you. I mean, I wasn't intimately aware of you, but everybody knew who you were. And when you live on camera, everybody sees you.
All right. Okay. You clean that up. Okay. Got it. Because people are going to be like, oh, that was last year. She was still in that stage.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay. So you're saying when I was on TV.
Yeah, you assume you know somebody. I mean, especially when you're sitting up there all the time.
And you received me as I was very much, receive me as I am. That's who this is. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Was I?
I mean, it's more of a confident, receive me as I am, not an arrogance, but kind of like
there's a difference.
Yeah, I'm me.
Okay, I'll receive that.
Yeah.
I guess I was, but you're probably right because there were so many things then that would have been an absolute no.
And I'm gonna tell you what I did.
That are not now.
I also seen that you were trying to differentiate yourself from everybody else. Like I literally saw you stay behind on certain episodes where everybody else would just go all in. I saw you stay back. So that's kind of.
But that's who I am. So I don't, I'm not going on unless you mess with my kids or my man or like, my mom and dad, just people like that. I'm really chill. I'm pretty chill.
So today we're going to be talking about, being in different situations where change or evolution is really a representation of growth. And we can't forget that growth is an inside job. And we talked about whether we like the word change or whether we like the word evolution. I think you said you prefer evolution.
Now that I have the choice, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're gonna choose, I think I like evolution better.
What does evolution mean to you?
Growing. Evolving is just a good word. It's just like a word that makes you feel like I just see like a plant growing. I don't know why, but that's what evolve means. Like I can just continue to evolve, and evolve to me is like better, like to better yourself. I don't even know what the actual definition is in the dictionary, but evolving to me gives like a better perspective. Like, oh, she's becoming a better person. Change could be a little bit of everything, like you can change and become mean. You can change and become, it's just change is perceived as a negative word. And it doesn't have to be, but I think it's perceived to be one.
So when I hear the word evolution, I just think process. Same as you. Just a different word. Like you talk about the plant blooming and coming up and slowly, or whether it's the evolution chart where you see man go from ape to standing and then back into, you remember that one picture we looked at where we're looking at the desk? So just an evolution. And I think that change, this is what an old preacher told me. He said, change ain't change until you change. That a lot of people want credit for changing, but change ain't change until you've changed.
That's really good.
What do you think about that?
I like that. I had to think about it like twice. change ain't change until you change. Yeah. Because, yeah, you don't get kudos for changing because you're in the
Right.
process. So you ain't changed yet.
You haven't changed yet.
Ah, I like that.
And don't we all want credit for the process?
That's true.
Like, I didn't do it as often as I used to, but have you changed? And I guess why I want to ask a question, and this is for you to ask maybe the person you're watching this with, maybe you can ask them, do you give me credit for changing, or do you hold the credit for the change? Like, what's your go-to method?
Now that you asked me that, I think I give credit for changing because I'm quick to say it's better. You're getting better. I am quick to say that now that you asked the question. But I think that the process deserves a little credit too, because you got to like encourage the person to get to the ultimate goal, is what I'm thinking. Like, if I encourage the change that you're looking for, or that we're looking for, that will better the situation, whatever it is, if I encourage you along the way, it gets you to the finish line. But yeah, I guess you're right. You don't change until you change.
Yeah.
But I feel like, yeah, give a little credit in the process, because that's a big step to even start the process, right? That's a huge step to recognize that it's a thing that needs to be changed. There's step number one. And you deserve a round of applause for even attempting to change it. And the process, you're getting there. Absolutely. I'm going to clap all the way.
Okay. Then the person changes or is changing. And then you have to get accustomed to a new normal, because we all are accustomed to the way it is. I have seen this as a pastor in counseling, that individuals will get together in relationship for what they loved about each other at the moment. And then we're in the office arguing about everything that they loved about the person. So it's kind of like, do you want me to stay the same, or are you going to be okay with these changes? Because in life, we go through stuff, and what I used to be able to do may not either have desire or capacity to do in another season. So when I say evolve or change, we always think like, yep, you're changing for the better. But what do you do when somebody changes for the worse? Do you have patience in the worst change the same way you do in waiting for the good change? Or are we short of patience in the backwards progress as not so much patient as we are with the forward progress? Because I think that we are definitely not patient. And when I say we, I mean us as a human race. We're not patient with people who are not growing at the pace that either we expect or that they should.
I know I'm guilty of that.
Oh, we all are. Don't even put that on yourself.
My patience is definitely short. For if I'm feeling like, dang, like this is snail's pace or no pace, I'm super frustrated. And that whole change for the worst thing,
that's a thing.
That is a thing. What do you do?
I think that, it depends on the terms of the relationship. I think it depends on the depth of the relationship. I think it depends on how vested you are in the person, because if it's a colleague or a coworker and they change for the worse, well, we work together.
Spend a few hours together.
Spend a few hours and you go home. But you, for instance, and if I saw something that was that had gotten a hold of you and you were frustrated by it, like the Holy Spirit, right? And it's something that happened. I'm talking about in the negative.
Yeah.
I would say to you, I'm like, babe, do you see yourself to have XYZ? I learned this from my coach. It's like he would tell me, my golf coach, I would swing the golf club.
Yeah.
And he started off by telling me, hey man, you went outside in. But I couldn't fix it. I'm like, no, I didn't. I feel like I went inside out or whatever I was supposed to.
Okay.
One day he said to me, do you feel like you went inside out? And I was like, yeah, I did. So whenever somebody is not performing, I think the first thing you should do is pose a question. That's a good
tactic. I mean, yeah. Oof.
Tell me what you're thinking. I want to know.
I think it just could be difficult depending on what that is. Like, let's say somebody's attitude is bad, right?
Okay.
It's getting worse. Are you supposed to say, Do you feel as though your attitude, or do you feel as though you haven't been as nice lately? Like, how do you pose that question?
Depends on what you want the outcome to be. If you want the outcome to be positive, I think you pose a question. If you want the outcome to be, I get my frustration out, then say it however you feel, and then be okay with the
So how
response
would
that the
you say
person
it?
give you.
How would you, if it was me and my
Mhm,
attitude was just getting bad over the last few months,
mhm.
how would you pose that question?
I'll do what I did the last time I felt you. Remember I asked you, I said, "Sister, is something disturbing your spirit
Oh
today?"
yeah, that was like a day though. I mean,
Yeah.
like if it was a process, if
I
it
won't
was
wait.
month.
I won't wait.
Oh, it would. What would be your
It's quick.
deadline? Like the day of?
When I get fed up.
Then pose the question. If you're
Yep.
fed up, pose
No,
it. How would you say
it's
it?
what's wrong? Is some got a hold of your spirit? Is you need to talk
Oof.
about
If I have
something?
a bad attitude, some got hold of your spirit. It's gonna.
I'm ready for it.
That ain't gonna be good.
I ain't going nowhere.
Sister, something got hold of your spirit, and I
I
got an attitude.
I'm right there with you.
Oh no.
I'm right there with you. I ain't going nowhere.
So,
And you can
oh,
and pop me with your shoe. I'm gonna wear it. It's gonna be a 10 by the
ah.
time you get it back on your foot.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you're right in posing the question. I just don't know if everybody is going to be able to receive it
Yeah.
very well,
Well,
because
then tell me what they supposed to do.
mm, that's actually a really good question. Like if I watch you, I think if I love you and I'm watching you spiral, right? I'm watching you just go backwards.
Mhm.
It's a pull to the side. Let's go have this conversation. I'm going to, as your friend, for example, we can go back to me being on the show. Everybody swears that I allowed my girlfriend to act up all the time, right? Like
You
you
get blamed
just
for that all the
condone, I get
time.
blamed for that all the time. You condone bad behavior. No, I just don't correct them in front of everyone. I
Mm.
am the person that's going to pull my friend, my loved one aside and say, girl, you're tripping. Like, you have to get it together. This is not a good look, blah, blah, blah. Whether they take it and do something with it is on them. But I feel like I did my part as a friend to try to help that moment of evolving or trying to lift them up out of that spiral downhill. But that's just me. I mean, that's how I would. I didn't go and say, do you think you acted a fool today? I'm like, no, you acted a whole fool
Yeah.
and you need to reel it in, take it or leave it. I love you and I'm just saying this out of love.
So then go back to when you said to me about you don't know if it would be a good thing if I said that to you.
Yeah, I don't know
So
if it,
how is what you would say to your friend different than what I said to you?
because I think I would receive from you saying, babe, you are giving off like something is wrong today. Like,
Mhm.
is that the case? Because we don't even need to keep going down this path of conversation if it's not, but it's given. This is what it's given. It's given a bad attitude today.
Mhm.
I would receive that better than like, do you feel like you have a stank attitude today? Because that sounds sarcastic.
I never said that. I said, do you feel like something's disturbing your spirit
Yeah,
today?
that's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
In my in
I
my in my ears,
okay.
you're something disturbing your spirit sounds a little smarty-ish
Hmm.
to me. It sounds like you're being a little snarky.
So how do you decide which words to use when talking to a person? Because remember, the words that I say to you came out of my head, not yours.
Right.
So how do you decide what how do you find the tone
That's important.
when you're speaking to somebody so that it doesn't sound the way they hear it, even if it's not necessarily the way you said it?
Well, I think that comes with learning the person, like
Mhm.
learning me and I learned you, but I don't know if I don't know, is that like maybe a churchy thing? What's disturbing your spirit?
I don't know.
You would actually say, I mean, you never said that to me. So would you actually say that to somebody? Like, you seem like something's disturbing your spirit.
I don't know. But
That just
moving,
sounds smarty-arty to me. To
yeah.
me. But again, I could just be, I don't know, hearing it in a way but I think as far as a partnership, you just learn your partner.
So you pull a girl to the side, you say to her what needs to be said, and then your expectation is that she or he would hear what you have to say and then the evolution would take place, because some people fear change.
Yeah, that would be what I would like to happen. I don't think I leave with any expectation, because I'm giving you my opinion. I'm giving you the love and the attention and the time to share with you what I think about your actions and how you're performing or acting. What you do with it is on you. So I don't think I leave with expectations. I leave with maybe hope. I joined the Osteen family on that area.
Yeah, they are very hope-filled, and that's what I
hope-filled.
love about them.
Yes.
I think that every person who spends an enormous amount of time with another person should probably practice writing that individual a letter of how they perceive them. I think that the Bible says in Habakkuk that if you write the vision and make it plain, that they who read it will run. And I think that because we are so accustomed to being hurt by words, that we could probably change our approach and use written word, because most hurt comes from the spoken word. What do you think about, love letters and poems, and not just writing for the sake of but writing
period.
What do you think?
I like that. I like you to write me a love letter.
You would
you like me to write you one?
It would be hard for you to read it. Let me type it.
Right.
Because my writing isn't amazing.
It's about like your drawing.
Yes. Now my drawing's amazing, but my writing isn't.
Pretty equal.
Yeah.
But would you like that? Love letters?
No, I want you to tell me.
Babe, you just suggested
for somebody else, but not for me. I want to hear the effervescence of your voice.
Wow. So who is the love letter for? Like
for the people who don't like the words.
Ah, okay.
Some people, I'm just speaking about different ways to communicate change. Some people don't like the words. Maybe somebody's love language is the written word.
Okay. And you would like to hear my voice.
Mm-hmm.
I like both. Mm-hmm. I'd like you to type me a letter every now and then.
Okay. I will type your letter. I'm going to type your letter this week.
Okay.
I'm going to type your letter this week.
Is it going to be readable for the people or no?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe I'll come back and read it for the people. All right.
So everybody, you heard it. I'm going to type my wife a letter, and she's going to bring it on a future episode.
Yep.
Which means you're going to have to keep watching, because you don't know which episode it's going to be on. Okay? So you're going to have to stay tuned this whole season. It might be the next one. Might be 5 from now.
Probably going to be good,
It's going to be a beautiful letter, and it's going to express the sentiments of my heart.
Aww.
Of how I feel about you. How about that?
I've
never written you a letter.
You have not ever written me a letter.
Do you want it handwritten, or do you want to type
I would like
and print
it handwritten.
All right, so you
got it. Even if I have to come to you and be like, what does this word say?
Okay.
I like that. Okay, look, we went off subject, and now I'm getting a love letter. Yeah. Look at that.
See, you never know what God will do. You never know what he do. So let me ask you this, because change is inevitable, and I am changing right before your eyes. Mm-hmm. What is the mindset that's necessary for adapting to change? What is the mindset? Because I think it takes a mindset.
I think it just takes being cognizant of change, being cognizant that change is necessary. Evolving is necessary. Like, I don't want to be stagnant and just be comfortable in the place that I am. I want consistent change, evolving, happening in every area of my life, not just, I want it in business. I want it in my friendships. I want it in my relationship with you. I want it in the relationship with my kids. I want to constantly see things evolving. So I think it absolutely is a mindset of something that you have to want and receive at the same time, because it's not always going to feel good. It's not always going to come in the forms that you see or expect. It could, look at us, you know what I mean? Like, our relationship did not come in the form or in the shape, or so to speak, of what we thought we wanted. Mm-hmm. We kept diving in the same pools, getting the same type of fish, and that wasn't it.
Yeah.
But it takes evolving and partly maturing with that, knowing that, change is good. Change is really, really good. Again, it's not always comfortable, but it is a good thing. And I feel like I have evolved just off of our relationship alone to a completely different person. You know, there's still pieces of Shaunie, of course, but I just think my mindset, even on a daily basis, is completely different than it was before I met you.
So I think, and we speak of change because we're both okay with it. There are thousands, perhaps millions of people who will see this and they are absolutely not okay with change.
Oh, for
And
sure.
and we speak about it like, oh, I love evolution and I like change. It's still somebody that would still love to be using an iPhone 1. Like some people don't like change. And what do we do? And I guess, and I'm sure I can like really feel the questions that people watching this, like literally intravenously, I can feel the drip. Like they're saying, okay, but I ain't with somebody who want to change. You know, I'm okay. Kudos for the two of y'all. You love evolution. Happy ever after.
We
but
met that lady. Remember that lady said her husband did not want to
that's what I'm
change.
talking about.
Yeah.
And I want us to speak to that too. Like what do you do when you're with somebody who absolutely wants it the same way every time? Everything adjusts to me, but I stand still. And I got one thing that I think that will help. You have to decide when you get together, what is our goal? And list them. If it's a goal or if it's 3, if it's 5, list them. And then when change is necessary, then you reference the goal. And if the goal necessitates the change, then we got to do this because we said this is the direction we're going in. But see, without a vision, people perish. That means that word perish, and this ain't a Bible study, but this is one of the best explanations I've ever heard. The word perish in the Bible doesn't mean to die. It means to live wildly. So it means that when people don't have a vision, they live out of control.
That is excellent. And that's so true. We talked about that before, having a vision, having a goal, and sitting down. And that's also maturity and experience to know to do that.
Yeah.
You know, no one tells you, writes a book to say, hey, when you get in a relationship, there needs to be clear goals, a clear vision, so that you have it's like having a contract, something to reference. What are we doing here? And we're 10 years in. Remember, you said we are evolving. We're on a continued path to evolving and continuing to progress in this area. But yeah, you get in these relationships and you don't have a goal, you don't have a vision, you didn't ask those questions. And then you get down the line and you're frustrated. You know, like I was saying, the lady that we met, it was like, what do you do with a husband that is comfortable and settled and like totally in a place in our early 40s, I think it was like early 40s, she said, that he doesn't want to do anything else. He feels like we made it and we ain't made it. You know, in her eyes, we ain't made it. But he's comfortable because he did better than his father did. So he's fine. And she's frustrated.
Yeah, so it's like driving in a car. And you see the traffic ahead and you take a turn that isn't on a GPS. Well, what does a GPS do? It recalibrates. Okay, so now it takes orders from the current destination. So everything around us is changing except for us.
That is so
Cars
true.
are changing.
Yeah.
Like you used to have to stick the key in the door. You remember that?
I
and
do.
Turn it. Now you can tap your phone on the handle and the car can start up. Everything is changing around us. And you have people right now, it's the mark of the beast and change is the end of the world. But what has ever stayed the same? The tree doesn't stay the same. Right. The grass, it gets cut and it grows again.
Right. And once it changes, you don't want it to be what it used to be.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's uncomfortable, but think about it. Anything that has changed 9 times out of 10, not always, but 9 times out of 10, you're like, oh, that was an upgrade.
Yes.
This is the best thing that could have happened. Imagine if we still were putting the key in the door.
Yes.
Then now we do it on a remote or on our phone. That's so convenient now. So it's the thing of like, wow, this was a great change.
Correct. A tree that doesn't change can't be climbed. If it stays the same size as it was when it's planted, you can't hang a swing from it and your children can enjoy it. It doesn't provide shade. Even the tree changes. Everything changes. And so we have to be okay with it, because if we allow change to do what it's supposed to do, it's really designed to give us the ability to be a better version of ourselves.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The only people who don't really want to change are already satisfied with the version that they are. And I can guarantee you the people in your life have an issue with that version.
Exactly. That is so true. But what do you do with that person who is comfortable? Like, I'm good. I think I'm pretty settled and satisfied with who I am. And you do run into that. I mean, I think that's where you talk about I've outgrown this person or I've moved on from this person. It is a thing to where you don't have to settle being with, staying in a friendship with, staying in a relationship with somebody who is stuck in that place and you're trying to evolve and continue to grow. Because
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's toxic to just stay in that, like I've grown from where you met me and grow with me instead of wanting to stay there. Like you're comfortable there, but you don't want to go with me up the mountain, and get to the top. I'm striving for the top. And if you're not willing to go there with me, it's okay for me to leave you where you are.
Yeah, I think we live in this world where change has become a bad word.
Yeah.
Right. I remember one rapper saying, I didn't work this hard to stay the same. Like change is inevitable. And some people have a problem with your change because they don't have your problems.
Right.
See, when your problems present themselves, people will see why you had to adjust. People will see why you had to change. But you know what I've seen, babe, in this dispensation of life? And this is going to be the other side of it. And I know some of y'all going to get what I'm about to say. I see people accept sameness in pets more than they do people.
That's very true.
They've been trying to teach the dog not to use it on the carpet for years, but they don't kick the dog out. They've been trying to teach the dog not to do whatever, but they don't shoot a shoot, but they don't kick the dog out. There is something innate that we have against individuals sometimes as the human race, where we will have much more patience for everything else, except for the thing that is like us. You know why? Because I believe that sometimes we have a problem with ourselves. And if you don't love you, and if you're not patient with you, and you don't have the proper conversation subconsciously with yourself, you will only end up speaking to me the way you speak to you. I think that all change starts with having a better relationship with yourself, which then leads me to my second thought, that you got to stay open. Yeah. Staying open to learning, staying open to a change and setbacks. Like, aren't setbacks a part of life?
Absolutely. Because they're not going to stop coming.
They're not going to stop coming.
And that's another thing, accepting that that's going to happen. Things are going to happen. And being able to learn in the process. You are always going to be a student. I always want to be a student. That's, again, we never claim expert of anything. I never claim experts. I'm like, you're an expert at, nope, don't want that title. I am experienced in this space. I can share my experiences with you, but an expert I am not. And just staying humble and always remaining a student is so very important, because you're going to learn in every aspect. You know what I mean? Every process of life is going to teach you something if you are open-minded to just absorbing the lesson. I think you have to be aware there's a lesson in everything. What is it? Maybe you have to ask yourself that question. But you're always a student when you're asking yourself, what can I learn here? What did this teach me?
I remember specifically the day, let me use a personal example. You probably never heard me say this before. Talking about being open to learning, and just talk about learning a person. God rest his soul, the day your father passed away, I learned when he left the earth how important protection was to you. Because see, when I first met you, you still had him, and he's a protector. Yeah. And I remember when he passed, I remember seeing a daze in your eyes that translated to me, where do I go from here? Where do I go for the protection? And I had only been in your life a few months at the time, so you didn't know that I could do it.
Correct.
So what do? Open it to learning. Now, had I missed that lesson, going back to one episode we talked about before about the difference between confusion and rejection. Going back to that moment, if I didn't understand that your world had just been turned upside down, then I would have felt rejected, because I would have felt like, what do you mean? Where's the protection? I'm right here. But I have to understand that he had decades
Right.
of equity
Definitely. Yeah.
in your subconscious,
Yeah.
in your consciousness, in your heart, your spirit, your soul. Your daddy was your guy, right?
That's my guy.
So now I'm learning you all over again, which requires a different vision and version of you in my head. So now I know how to come at you in a way where I subsidize, and I had to learn this too. I can't replace them.
Right.
There's no amount of hug, no big enough of a gift, no extravagant trip that can fill the void of losing a father of your father's caliber. So what I had to learn is I just had to become a better version of husband and not try to be a substitute father.
That's really good. Because I don't think I ever had that conversation with you. I
I
think,
seen it in your eyes, though.
yeah. Yeah. And I think all the stories that I share about my dad probably defines everything that you just said. But you're right. I think when my dad passed, we were a year and some change in.
Mhm.
And yeah, I literally could call him for anything. Like he gonna go get the baseball bat and whatever it is, or just advice, whatever that is. But I think it was just a learning process, and it was a learning process even for me to know how to lean on you in that space. I think I just learned that I need to feel protected all the time.
Mhm.
Like I think I learned that about myself, that I did not realize that, and I actually do that with my kids. Probably
Which
to a
is
fault.
why we as people
Yeah.
have to go through things to learn.
Right.
Because you don't know what you need until you don't have what you have.
Yeah. I think I do feel that way. I never really paid that much attention. That I do feel like, even with my friendships, I think if I don't feel protected, and maybe that's why I have this, I'm going so far off subject, guys, so sorry. But I feel like that bubble that I keep is probably all because of that protection thing. But you're patient with me, so
So it brings me to the thought as you were saying, and I think the conversation is riveting. I think people are being helped. But what do you do when you have to ask permission from your spouse to initiate or recognize a change that life doesn't automatically give you? See, your father's passing was a curse to you, but a gift to me because it gave me an opportunity to see you in a different way. Now, I wouldn't have never wanted to learn the lesson that way,
right.
but life does present itself.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, it presents moments for you to learn someone in a new way. And for me, learning that I knew my father was my protection, but losing him and feeling unprotected just was a light bulb when it was brought to my attention that that was a habit for me. That was just like a thing that existed in my life that I didn't even realize was there, but knew it was there and needed it. Like it was a need that I just have in all my relationships. But again, it could be habit for someone, that thing that needs to be changed or adjusted or evolved. It could be a habit, but until it's brought to their attention, they just don't know. I honestly didn't even know that about myself until we had the conversation. So things have to happen sometimes for you to get that moment of clarity of like, wow, this is something. And I don't know that I want to change that though. Like I don't know
what
that
do you
that's
mean?
a
Explain. Change
like
what?
that thing that I feel that where I need to be protected. I I don't know if that's something that I necessarily have to evolve from.
No, I think that everybody wants to be protected, babe. Like
Yeah.
the cat wants to be protected. The dog wants to be protected. The giraffe wants to be protected. You'll see a lioness lose her mind trying to protect her her cubs, but then will run underneath the male lion to be protected from somebody. Everybody wants to be protected. Is an innate desire. So it is not whether or not we should change it, but it is where can I be comfortable as I evolve? Like,
Mm.
like
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
have to be surrounded by people that I can change in front of and not read about it on Instagram.
Right.
I want to be able to change with you around and not have a conversation with somebody else who tells me what your commentary was about the change
Or the
that we made.
people, or the
Yeah.
people that continue to talk about the same thing
Yes.
over and over again. That is draining. That is not evolving. We heard about, Tom last month and last week and yesterday. When we gonna move on from Tom?
Okay. Well, let's talk for a second about that, because and I know we got to wrap it up, but okay, I'm the person on the other end of the camera, and you're saying get on from Tom. We know what Tom did. We know what Tom did. Move on from Tom. Okay, I'm saying to you, but Tom didn't hurt you. So tell me right now, babe. Okay, I'm still talking about Tom. What is your advice? Because this is the Groow Zone.
Right.
Okay. All right. Tom hurt me in a way. Tamika hurt me in a way. Larry hurt me in a way. Lisa hurt me in a way. Put whatever name you want to. My mama hurt me in a way. My daddy, my auntie hurt me in a way that I just ain't been able to get out of the sea of the same.
I'm okay.
What do I do?
I'm okay. Listen, and that is a key. You're in the sea of the same. You shouldn't want to be. Just hearing that alone. Ooh, I'm in the sea of the same. That should sting. That should sting and trigger something for you to do something to evolve out of that sea. If that's getting therapy, if that's, whatever those things are, do the work to get out of the sea of the same. And I really believe, babe, that when you're talking about Tom, Larry, Tamika, whoever, over and over and over, that's a decision. You are absolutely cognizant that you are holding that conversation over and over and over again. And if you're not, as your friend, as your loved one, your spouse, I need to bring that to your attention. You do realize that we have been talking about this for 2 to 3 months straight, and there is no change. There is no progress. There is no. So now what? What are we going to do? Because you can't, plenty of us have girlfriends or guy friends that call and talk about, it's draining. It really is. I've been that friend that listened for. In my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna let her, get this out. I know you need to get it out. I know you need to vent. So I'm gonna ride with it for a few weeks. That few weeks turns into a few months. I can't do it anymore. And I'm gonna say, so and so, we've been talking about this for 3 months, sis. Like, what we gonna do? We're gonna find a therapist. We're gonna get over let's come up with a solution, because you are still in the sea of the same.
Have you ever had a moment personally where you needed to be heard about the same thing over and over again for longer than was customary or necessary?
Probably so.
And what did somebody do for you in that moment?
I don't know that anybody has ever pulled my coattail on that before. I think I have been encouraged to get therapy, or like, like, maybe you should talk to somebody about that professionally. So I think it hasn't been like, girl, you keep talking about this. You're stuck in that depression. You're stuck in that same, like, you're still mad,
and not even know you mad.
Right. And not even know. Or, people will tell you like, oh, that's stress. But I'm not stressed. I don't feel stressed, but you are, because you've been talking about that for 3 months. That's stress.
Which brings me to, I think, the last thing. So we say, keep the goal in sight, stay open to learning. But I think the third thing is what I hear you saying is just be patient, right?
Be patient. And ask for help.
Ask for help. And listen. Can I just say this to young, upperly mobile people who are listening? Because there is a generation of us who feel like getting outside help is some sort of sin.
Yeah.
Like,
not like Instagram watch for special quotes type of help.
No. I'm not talking about scrolling somebody's feed and reading a quote or a meme. I'm talking about not going to Starbucks for a week so you can sit in somebody's office for an hour.
Exactly.
I'm talking about literally paying for the help the same way we do personal shoppers.
Yeah.
The same way we do Uber Eats and DoorDash and all of those people who charge fees. It's amazing how many fees we will pay to be comfortable, but how many fees we won't pay to change.
That should wrap up the show right there.
You think that's a good place to wrap it up?
That's a good place to wrap.
Well, listen.
Say that again. How many fees?
How many fees will we pay to be served?
Yeah.
And not pay those same fees to be changed. That's the origin of what I'm saying.
To serve ourselves.
It costs. to get out of debt. It costs to get out of suppression and depression and anger and frustration. And you have to be seen by somebody who isn't you, because we will grade ourselves on what we meant to say and not what we actually said.
Yeah, that's good.
Listen, thank you so much for being with us on this episode of the Groow Zone. And we talked about adjusting the new normals and the change and the evolution, whatever word you want to use.
Whatever word.
That is all necessary. And you talked about patience, and I talked about
being a student.
Staying
humble. Just be humble about where you are, and no matter how old you are, where you are, just stay humble and remain a student. And it is okay to ask for help, whether it be professional, whether it be a girlfriend, like, help me through this process. And maybe they have, just ask for help. Don't ever be afraid to lean on your village.
You may have never heard me say these words before, but it is absolutely my favorite collection of words in the world. We call them quotes. And I tell people this all the time. And my father always taught me, he said, if it wasn't worth saying twice, it wasn't worth saying once. So I'm going to say it again. You are born looking like your parents, but you will die looking like your decisions. I want you to choose you today. We'll see you on the next episode.